liked it, so maybe y'all will like it. Alright, starting with these steps. I want you to mark out step 1, step 2, step 3. Because this part that they're talking about up here is really step 1. So there's really just 4 steps to solving it. This is step 1. This is actually step 2. This is step 3. Oops. And step 4. There's 4 steps to completing the square. Alright, y'all know how like when you factored it, the equation had to be set equal to what before you started factoring? 0. Alright, this one's different. They don't want you to set it equal to 0. Because if you look at step 1, the form it's in is x squared plus bx. What are we missing? The c. Good. It's usually x squared plus bx plus c. Well, it's not here this time because where it's at is on the other side of the equal sign. So we want our x squared and our bx together, and we want it equal to our c term. That's step 1. So for example, number 1, what's our c term? 11. And we want it on the other side, so how do we move it over there? Alright, that's first step. So it's going to look like x squared plus, I want you to put something before something else, a box or a square. And then on this side it'll be positive 11, right? I want you to put a plus square on this side. Why do I have to do, why do I have to put one on both sides, you think? Say that louder.
What you do one side, you have to do to the other.
Good. If you didn't, it wouldn't be equal, right? Okay, so now on to step 2. It says find 1/2 of b. Well, 1/2 is just dividing something by what? 2. Okay, and what is our b term here? 10. It's always going to be the one beside x, right? So what is 10 divided by 2? Step 3 says what, somebody? Square the result. So we're going to square 5. That's going to be what? 25. So now you reach step 4.
Add the result of step 2 to x squared plus bx.
Okay, so we are going to add, what did we find in step 3? 25 in both of the boxes. Because what we do to one side, we got to do the other. Alright, now let's go back to factoring for just a second, okay? I'm just looking at this side, x squared plus 10x plus 25. Hopefully y'all know how to factor this. I'll have to find factors of what number? 25, that add together to get, that's going to be 5 and 5. Good. So I could write it as x plus 5x plus 5, or I could write, instead of writing x plus 5 twice, I could just write x plus 5 what? Squared. Good. Now, a trick to this, you don't ever have to factor these. There's a trick. Where else do you see this number 5 at? Right above it. So you don't have to factor it. All you have to do is take half of whatever this number is and put it here. That's all. Every time. So I didn't have to really factor this. I just tricked y'all. But I wanted you to see why you could put this number here every time. It's going to be half. Okay? Equals, what is 11 plus 25? 36. Now, here's where the name completing the square comes in. Is 36 a perfect square?
Yes.
Yep. Is this a perfect square? Because of the squared, right? Now think algebra. If I was going to solve for x, the first thing I would need to get rid of is what? The square. What's the opposite of squaring something? Square root. We're going to take the square root of only this side? Both sides. Since they're opposites, like square rooting and squaring something, what would happen if they come together? Yes, they cancel each other out. This and this cancels out. And we'll just have what on this side? Equals? Or it could be x plus 5 equals what? Negative 6. Does everyone understand why when we take the square root of something it can be plus or minus? Not really? Okay, I'll explain. Square root of any number. Give me a perfect square.
39.
either be 5 or the square root of 25 can be negative 5. Because if we go backwards, 5 squared is what? Negative 5 squared? Still a positive 25. That's why we have to put plus or minus, okay? So on all of these, we'll have how many answers? 2.
Can we make the plus and minus line?
You could, but then you have to break it up into this to find your 2 different answers. So like this one, when I solve for x, it's going to give me what? This one? Negative 11. Good. Because negative 6 minus 5 will be negative 11. Questions about that one? Everybody get the concept? The hardest part about this is just remembering what goes in the box. That's when we square it. What goes here? That's half of this. Everybody gets confused on that, okay? Next one. Number 2. Tell me the first step again. Subtract 36. Good. So, all right. X squared minus 13x plus, yes, square, box, whatever, equals. Good, because it's minus, because we moved it over, plus box. What do we do next? Divide what? 13 by what? So you can see it's going to get a little ugly, right? But ugly people need love too. So we're going to do it. Alright, so this is going to be negative 13 over 2. Do not, under any circumstances, use decimals with this. Because if you round decimals, and you'll have to on some of them, it's going to mess your answer up. You're not going to get it right. So the fraction button on your calculator is going to be your best friend for this chapter, okay? So I'm going to show you how to use it. Negative 13 divided by 2, that's what it's going to look like as a fraction, right? After we divide it by 2, we're going to do what? Square it. Don't you use your calculator. Look up here. What's 13 squared? 169. Good. What's 2 squared? 4. Question, can I square something and it ever be negative?
No.
Nope. Nope. True. You're clever. Alright, what do we put in the box? Yes, this number, 169 over 4. 169 over 4. Now you can see the trick that I taught you, like you don't have to factor. Nobody would want to factor this, right? That'd be so bad. So, tell me what this is going to be. X, what's the number that goes here? Good. Instead of plus negative, I'll just write what? Yes. Okay, and that number came from when we divided this number by 2. Here's where you get to use your calculator. I want you to type in negative 36 plus this number, but this number has to be in what? Parentheses. So type in negative 36 plus parentheses 169 over 4 parentheses. And here's what your calculator should look like. Can I borrow somebody's? Thank you. Did everybody get 6.25? Y'all know how to turn this to a fraction? Math. Good. Hit the math button, hit the fraction button, hit it again. 25 over 4. Everybody good? Did you do positive 36 plus 169 over 4? And did you put it in parentheses? Alright, let me come see then. Alright, this looks like it's ugly, right? But it's really a pretty fraction. Can anybody tell me why? They're both perfect squares, which is going to help us because don't we have to take the square root? Yes, of which side? Both. So what's the square root of this side going to be? Minus 13 over 2. Good. Don't use your calculator. What's the square root of 25? Square root of 4? Or it could be x minus 13 over 2 equals what? Another thing with completing the square If these are ever not the same denominator, you've done something wrong. If you have different denominators, okay? How would I solve for this one?
Add it here.
Don't use your calculator. What's 13 plus 5?
18.
Divided by 2? 9. Good. X equals 9. That's one of them. Alright, we have to add 13 over here, right? So what's positive 13 minus 5?
8.
Divided by 2? Perfect. If y'all do anything in my class, I want y'all to get used to fractions. So it's an ugly problem, but pretty answers. Questions about that? Alright, you notice how 3 and 4, which one's different than the ones we've been doing? How? So just like we have AC easy and AC hard, and they're different, these are too. So we're not going to get to those until Monday, but I want you to do number 3 on your own. Number 3 on your own, and I want to check it. So when you get done, let me know. You'll have pretty answers. I promise, pretty answers.
You got 5 divided 8 by 2, right? Okay, well, look at this one. What's 10 divided by 2? Yes, so what needs to go here? Yes, both sides. Let's get back. Don't forget that negative 4 squared is not negative 16. It'll always be what? 10 7. And then I'll change these two binomial squared. It's going to be x what? Equals? And then you got to add these. That's going to be what? Now we'll do what? Square root both sides. That's all. Almost done. Good job. Great job. Great job. Wait, press, yeah. Once I have checked that you've got this, you can back up. Since I've checked yours, you can back up. capsule, that's why I